They ruined it! Once again, they ruined it. And I know what you're thinking, Ryan, what the hell are you talking about? What did they ruin? You saw the title and thumbnail. Thumbnail has to do probably with Yu Yu Hakusho, and the title just says they ruined it. What did they ruin? Another live-action anime getting ruined? Possibly. We don't really know yet. But I kind of want to bring this topic to the channel because I've been having a lot of debates this past week, especially at DreamCon. Shout out to you if you went to DreamCon. At DreamCon, we actually had a panel, me and Afro and Swag Kage, where we had a whole room full of people discussing and yelling at each other about basically hot takes in anime, and it was a lot of fun. And I want to bring that back to the channel because you know me, I like to argue. I thrive in this. I live for this. And it's fun to kind of get everyone's thoughts and stuff. And I got a perfect one to talk about. Live-action anime adaptations. Are they good or bad? Right off the bat, just answer that down below. Are they good or bad? Now, here's the thing. When you hear live-action anime, what's the first thing that comes to mind? I can almost bet $100 right now that most of you are probably going to say one or two things. Number one, Dragon Ball Evolution. Or two, probably the live-action Death Note that came out on Netflix a couple years ago. And both of those were not good at all. The live-action Death Note, we're not going to talk about. Death Note is one of my favorite series of all time. And that series, that special, that movie, whatever it was awful. Honestly, whoever did that movie should be locked up. That's a little too extreme, but you know what I mean. It was bad. And don't even get me started with Dragon Ball Evolution. As a fan of Dragon Ball, watching Dragon Ball Evolution when I was younger, it just made me angry. And to this day, I still have not recovered. Dragon Ball Evolution was so bad that even Toriyama stepped up and he was just like, "This is bad. Like, what did you do to my child?" So yeah, live action anime always has a bad rep, but that's not what we're gonna talk about today. The thing is, live action anime can be good and has been good in the past. Comment section below if you actually have experience watching live action anime. What I want you to do is recommend something that you've seen that's good, and let me see where everybody stands. Because I've seen a lot of good ones that are decent. For example, Nana was great. If you watch the Japanese, keyword Japanese, the Japanese live action for Death Note, all three moves were fantastic. Without spoiling too much, it even shows you an alternate ending. That was one of those rare times where they actually changed how Death Note ended in a good way. It was very, very well done. The actors were great. The story was fantastic. It stuck to kind of the source material outside them changing the story at the end. And it was fun. Rurouni Kenshin is another one. Fantastic anime that worked so well in live action. Now, I think the difficult part is when it comes down to doing anime and doing like a live action format is translating the effects sometimes, the power-ups. Like the powers don't necessarily translate that well in the live version, you know. And one of the things I'm worried about with Yu Yu Hakusho is the fact that it's like when the spirit gun is fired, is it going to look corny? Are they going to do Dragon of the Darkness Flame? Will it look corny? I don't really know yet, you know. But I do have a little faith, and my faith right now is due to the fact that I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I saw a tweet that said that the same people who did Alice in Borderlands are working on Yu Yu Hakusho, so that's a good sign. Now, I'm gonna be real. Usually when I see a Western company working on live action anime, I immediately just kind of cringe and I think like this is going to be awful, because in the past we've seen stuff like the Cowboy Bebop series as well as, you know, the Death Note movie. Now, to be fair, I have not watched the live action Cowboy Bebop. I have not. I've heard from people that it was entertaining. I've heard from people that it was bad. I've heard basically everything when it comes on that series, but I can't form my own opinion on it because I have not consumed it yet. But I know enough to say that every time the West touches any kind of anime and live action especially, they usually do bad on it. But in this situation, again, the same people did Alice in Borderlands, which is a fantastic series, by the way, on Netflix, if it's true, are working on this, and I have faith. Is it going to be good? Probably. I don't know. Probably not. I'll be real with you. It might just be okay, but it's not an automatic Death Note, no pun intended, that the second a live action comes out for an anime that's going to be bad. We don't really know yet, you know. I'm going to give it a chance. Now, to be fair, Netflix has missed a lot. They have missed so much in the past couple of years. So I understand everyone's fears. So when you take the fact that Netflix sucks and live action anime sucks, and you combine it to one, it tends to be bad. But you know what? I'm going to rule the word of PEMDAS. Because PEMDAS, when you put two negatives together, you get a positive. In this situation, maybe it'll be a good thing. I don't really know. You know, another live action anime that I actually enjoyed that's kind of questionable to some was Bleach. I think the Bleach one was actually pretty entertaining for what it was. And like I said, my whole debate here is the fact that you can possibly watch a live action anime and it can be good. It's not an automatic Death Note, you know. But to be fair, we also see some bad Japanese ones. For example, the Japanese live action for Attack on Titan was awful. It looked beautiful. It was fantastic. They had the effects right. They just rewrote the characters around completely, and that wasn't even Mikasa. I don't even know who that character was, but that's not Mikasa. So as long as they get the effects right, which I think they will, because again, they have a good track record with them doing Alice in Borderlands. As long as they get the effects right and they don't really like stray too far from the source material, I think the Yu Yu Hakusho live action will be great. Now, something I want to talk about is this past week, they did actually announce the cast for the series. At the time that I'm recording this video, they've only announced 3. They did Yusuke, which I think looks pretty good. I think he definitely kind of captures the Yusuke style, at least in my opinion. We had Kurama. Kurama you might debate because his hair is not bright red. It's more like a crimson, darkish red, which is still red technically. Actually, matter of fact, we'll talk about this here in a second. And of course, we had Hiei, which was probably the most controversial one for several reasons. People online weren't necessarily a big fan of his design, but the one that stood out the most was the fact that he had blue eyes. Look what I have over here. This is Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 4. Why do I have this, you might ask? If we look at the cover, you'll notice that he actually has blue eyes in this, which is weird because in the series and in the manga and in the anime, he was always described to have like the blood red eyes or like brown eyes. But blue is the complete opposite. But in this cover, he has blue eyes. And over here, if you can see, Kurama has black hair, but kind of like a red hue to it. So my theory is I think they just referenced this when they came up with the character designs for that. Do I love it? I don't know yet, honestly. I want to see it in action. You know, seeing one picture is not enough to tell me how a final product is. You know, Yu Yu Hakusho is definitely one of my favorite series of all time. I mean, literally have Hiei on my wall from what, episode 108? That's a real sell. I love this series. If this series comes out bad, we are going to have to go to Japan Netflix offices, and fight them. We're going to have to throw hands. But I will say this. I'm not going to fully assume that it's going to be awful from the start, you know. Like I said, right now, the thing that has me excited is the fact that Alice in Borderlands, which, by the way, if you have not seen, I highly recommend. There is only 1 season for it. Season 2 comes out, I believe, at the end of the year. That's what they announced. 8 episodes. Go check it out. That was fantastic. So good. So good. And I guarantee you, if you watch that, you'll probably have a different opinion, you know, in regards to the Yu Yu Hakusho live action, and you're probably going to be more excited about it. Now, does that mean it's going to be good? No. No, they can still mess it up. Like I said, you know, we've seen Attack on Titan, which looked great, and then they rewrote the characters completely around and ruined it. You know, for all you know, they might do the same thing with this. But the reason why I want to make this video in the first place is just to talk about the fact that good live-action anime do exist. It is possible to do it. It's not, again, no pun intended, an immediate death note to a show when you find out it's getting a live-action anime. And look, again, not to be kind of biased, but I feel like every time we get a Western release for a live-action, they kind of tend to ruin it, you know. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that the One Piece live-action they're working on is a Western release, you know, based on the teasers that we've seen. But when it comes down to Japan doing it, they usually tend to do it right. And even Attack on Titan looked good, was bad because of writing. It still looked decent and was kind of entertaining. I would never recommend to watch it again, but my point is there is potential for these to be actually good when they come out. So what I want you guys to do, and look, especially if you're a fan of Death Note, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's 3 movies. It's part 1, part 2 of the actual series, and a part 3 is kind of like a what-if scenario. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to reveal how it actually ends, because, again, it is very, very different, but they did it right. You know, another one that I really definitely want to recommend is Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin, I feel like, is peak live-action anime. If other series follow in the same footsteps and they do a show like that, I would never be mad. I would never be upset, because it was so good. To be fair, we are talking about an anime that's based around sword fighting and stuff like that, so it's a bit easier to capture. And, you know, I still think we're probably a long ways away from seeing stuff like Dragon Ball, probably written Dragon Ball in live action form, just because like throwing the ki blast will be kind of weird. I mean, that's something else that also was wrong with Evolution. When they tried to do a ki blast, it just didn't fit right. Let's not forget that atrocious transformation that we saw as well. But I don't know. I just want to kind of bring this debate over here because I had this debate actually over the past weekend. I had it on Twitter as well. I actually had a community post about it, and it was fun kind of going back over the people about it. So I want to hear from you guys. Like, have you guys actually experienced good live action anime? What is it? Have you seen bad ones? I'm sure everyone's going to say Dragon Ball Evolution, and that was bad. But with this, there's hope. There's hope. We're probably going to come back here a year from now and you know, do a review on that live action Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm going to probably eat all my words and be like, yeah, no, that was bad. And after that, I'll probably go back to believing that every live action anime immediately will be bad when it gets announced. But for now, I want to give it a chance, you know? I think there's a lot of potential in it, and if they do it right, I would not be opposed if they do a lot of my favorite shows in live action. Another one that also was brought up was Full Metal. I have not seen it. You know, that's another one that I feel like would have worked right. Maybe I should go watch that. Should I watch that? Have you guys seen Full Metal's live action? Let me know down below. But there is room for live action anime to exist and coexist within our space and actually be good. The question is can the right people pick it up? And I think the other thing that's very important is we need to be more proactive about giving feedback after it comes out as opposed to before. Because after, if it's bad, we should definitely voice our opinions on it. But before, it's like the last thing you want to do is like be annoying online and bother, you know, the people behind the series, the cast, and all of a sudden it comes out and it's good. Because then you look stupid. Don't do that. We should never be, you know, mean online anyways. But you know what I mean? Like, we should at least like voice our opinions on stuff after it releases, and from there see what else we can get. Because you never know. There's a lot of potential for a lot of good stuff to come out over the course of the future. And again, if done right, I'm here for it. So yeah. Anyway, so let me know your thoughts on live action anime. Is it something that you want to see in the future? And also, the final question I'm going to ask you is what live action series would work perfectly? Or what anime series would work perfectly in a live action format? Let me know down below. So yeah. Oh boy, these comments are about to be hilarious. They're about to be on fire. But you know what? I'm here for it. So I guess I'll see you guys down below.